Welcome to the Gransberry Chronicles Weekly Pick'em Week 4. I'm your girl, the Gransberry, and tonight I got my boy D Jones on the right. And you know, Coach Pat may join us on the left. I'm feeling a little extra today. You know, it's the week I had to Buffalo, baby.
Super
Buffalo
extra.
to go. Super extra, feeling myself. I'm about to complete my journey. That's right. All 31 stadiums. That's right. If you start now, you can't even get 31 stadiums. You can only do 30. So you know I'm feeling good about myself right now. But we're supposed to pick these games. We will. But before we do that, let's bring in Coach Pat because he's been having an entanglement. So let's add him to the show. What up, Coach? Coach with the
Let's do
entanglement.
this.
Let's do this. Look, if you don't know, me and my whole crew, we rolling to Buffalo this week. That's right. We may not have Tyrod. We surely don't have our boy Deshaun. But you know what? We got the Gransberry. And shout out to my homeboy Chris. We got Chris. He'll be there this weekend. That's right. We're going to complete our journey. I started this journey a decade ago, and it's time to finish. And you know, I don't want to take up too much of y'all time because we really here to do these picks. It's not really about my trip to Buffalo, but it is about my trip to Buffalo. But
we going too. You ain't by yourself.
You ain't by yourself.
Please, these games that we don't want to talk about out the way so we can move on, please.
For sure. This week's get them out of the way picks are, first of all, Jacksonville, Cincinnati. We all going with Cincinnati there. Washington, Atlanta. I'm riding solo. I'm picking Washington. You guys got Atlanta. Detroit, Chicago. Coach got solo pick this time. Gransberry and myself pick Detroit. Coach, you pick Chicago. Indy, Miami. Coach solo on this one too. Coach pick Indy. Gransberry and myself, we picked the home team, Miami. Giants, New Orleans. We all riding with New Orleans. Tennessee Jets. We are all riding with Tennessee. That's the get them out of the way picks. So let's jump into the next one.
Let's jump into it. I mean, guys, I'm supposed to be going over these games, but we're going to be moving quickly and I'm going to be throwing in tidbits along the way. So first game up is Cleveland versus Minnesota. I'm going to give you a little background on each home team stadium when we hit that game. That's right. So first game is Cleveland versus Minnesota. Derek and I actually traveled to Minnesota together. It was when the stadium first opened. We went their inaugural year. It was pretty awesome. The weather was cool. The game was awful. Why was it awful? We lost. But
lost bad.
We lost real bad. Like super bad. And it was actually the same year of one of my anniversaries to my line. And I wasn't able to make that. I chose the game instead. Great memories. Still a good time. And we lost really, really bad. But we learned about the skull chant and got to see it in person. You know, so I'll take that memory and live it through. And then the road team, Cleveland, you know, I've had a chance to do a snow angel in the snow in Cleveland and then head up the road to Canton and try out, you know, a look at the Hall of Fame. And at the time when I visited, you know, I got to see like, you know, during the season, whenever a quarterback or a wide receiver has like an amazing game, the things that happen in their jersey, their balls or their cleats are actually sent to the Hall of Fame and put on display for different types of records. So that was pretty interesting to see. And I did get a win in Cleveland. So, you know, all right, guys, first up, Cleveland versus Minnesota. I'm going with the home team. Minnesota showed us a few things last week when they put it to the Seahawks. You know, they were very competitive against Arizona. So they've actually been playing some good football, you know, all the weeks. It's just, you know, that field goal kicker got them in Arizona. So I'm going with the home team. Coach Pat?
I'm going with Cleveland on this one. Minnesota has been playing a lot of close games this year. And I just think Cleveland's run game is going to take over, even though I'm not the biggest Baker Mayfield fan. So I'm just going to roll with Cleveland in this one because you got Hunt and Chubb. Simple. And their defense is not too bad. 4.5 sacks last week for Myles Garrett. But, yeah, that was against
who?
That awful Chicago
Okay,
off the
so I don't
Chicago
think. I
line.
mean, we want to respect
I know.
Sack.
I just wanted to highlight that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I'm not saying that Myles Garrett's going to get 4.5. But I mean, I'm believing it's going to build their confidence on that defensive line with Clowney, Garrett, because they struggled. Houston passing rods, they couldn't get past them. But with Chicago, you were playing a rookie, and you basically had paper sacks playing offensive line. So, but I'm going with Cleveland this one. Field goal game.
I think it's going to be a lot of those field goal games this week. They got him out of there. They got him out of there. The field goal game got him out of there.
Yeah, I'm like, man, you giving too much love to Cleveland for beating the Bears.
Well,
I'm gonna send you the hot take with them. But
you solo on this one. I'm going with Cleveland too. I'm not necessarily pumping up the defense, but as coach would normally say, some feel good medicine happened last week against Chicago, boosted their confidence. I think that defense, and plus add their defense to the inconsistent quarterback on the other side. That your cousin, I'm a ride with Cleveland. It's a lot of games that's going to be close this week, but I think this is another one that's going to be close. Should be a good game. I'm going to go with Cleveland on this.
All right, well, go ahead. It's solo what it is. I mean, I've been solo plenty of times, so I'm good with it. So, KC versus Philly. Ooh-wee. So, Kansas City heads to Philly. It's not really much to talk about in this. We expect Mahomes to, bounce back from last week. I don't think we'll be seeing Josh Gordon this week. But other than that, things will be looking up on the up for them. Hurts and coach still haven't figured out how they want to run this offense. So until they get that figured out, if they can't figure out how to even protect him long enough to throw the ball, if he's always going to have to pretty much be a running back, they're in trouble because they still don't even have a line that can block for him to be all that running. Because if you notice, even when the plays break down, Hurts is barely still getting 1 or 2 yards, and we know he's not slow. So part of that is the fact that they've already broke the line by the time he's trying to get away, and he don't have enough room to even make a play with his legs. So, Philly is the most awful fans in the fan bases available in the NFL. Even when they're winning, they're evil. They booed Santa Claus. So I don't really have much for them this week. They got their butts toe up on Monday Night Football. I don't think anybody was surprised that Dallas was going to win the game, but it was pretty embarrassing. And I think they're set for another embarrassment, but only this time at home. D. Jones?
Yeah, I'm going with Kansas City with you on this one. I think we kind of touched on it last week, but I think Kansas City is just getting into their issue is their defense, and they're getting into an issue with just having a shootout every week. I think Philly just don't have enough bullets in their guns to kind of keep up this week. Mahomes had some bad turnovers last week, so I expect him to bounce back from that. But I just don't think Philly got enough to shoot out with the Chiefs. What you say, Coach?
I'm going to go ahead with Chiefs. Feel good medicine weekend for the Chiefs. I mean, I know y'all talked about the defense. We've talked about the defense along with each other with Kansas City, but this may be the weekend that the DC can get some chances to figure out what type of defense he wants to run. We know they're going to score. KC's going to score, so it's going to be the feel good, pigskin.
Okay, so let's head on over to the Bay. That's right. We got San Fran at home taking on Seattle. Seattle's had some tough losses. Kind of questionable about this. We usually don't bet against Russell. Russell's that guy you just don't go against. He's on the road. I really expected him to get a decent win last week. I was quite surprised in the score and everything associated with it. But San Fran, fun fact there, I was able to see the Texans get destroyed by the 49ers in the last year of Candlestick Park. And I'll never forget it because we arrived early, which I usually do in my first time at a new stadium. And if you're not familiar with where Candlestick Park was located, it literally was on the edge to the bay. You literally looked out to the bay at the game. You could feel the coolness of how close you were. And, we were the night game. So right before that, everybody was watching that was already inside the stadium, the end of the Broncos versus the Cowboys game. And, it was a very, very good game, back and forth shootout. And then, at that one moment, Romo reminded folks of what he could do. And, as Stephen A would say, they will find a way to lose a game. And, Peyton did old quarterback sneak, and which he doesn't do often, but when he does, he's successful, and he won the game. And those memories stick. And then, of course, when our game started, an unfortunate pick six by Manchow. So I'm going to move on and say that, San Fran played very well last week. Not Jimmy G, but San Fran. And they got a loss because, of course, it was your boy D Jones on the other side. You cannot give two quarterbacks more than, let's say, 30 seconds. If you give them more than 30 seconds, it's over. And those quarterbacks are Rodgers and Tom Brady. And a close third, which we haven't seen much, but those that actually, keep up with years of play. You also used to be able to depend on Roethlisberger like that sometimes too. He would need the most time. He would be in third place on the amount of time needed. But, he's pretty smart with the ball and knowing when to spike the downs and stop the clock and work it to your advantage. So I think everybody knew as soon as San Fran scored that the game was over because Rodgers would make it happen. Because we also know he's also good for a Hail Mary too. So you didn't know which one would actually land you the win. So, Coach, tell me who you're picking this weekend in the Bay. They're in Santa Clara now, but it's still the Bay.
I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. Going with the Seahawks, Russell Wilson. They better get a running game started, but I think this weekend they will be able to, hang on. I'm not on the Jimmy G hate wagon like some people are, but Jimmy G is not going to win this game for sure. What'd you say, D Jones?
I'm not picking against Russell.
You picking against his defense?
I'm picking the other 52. I'm picking against the other 52 right I'm going San Fran on this. Really, to me, this is a coin toss game. I'm picking the home team. I'm not picking Jimmy G, and I'm not picking against Russell. I think the home team wins here in a close game. I just don't know. I haven't seen enough consistency from either one of these teams. Seattle jumped out early last week, and then all of a sudden gave it up. Even when they playing against Tennessee, it's like they jump out, but then they divert back. So I'm not sure. It's almost like they're trying to change their identity instead of riding with Russell. And I'm not sure what's going on there. So I'm going to go with the home team here. I'm going for San Fran like DJ.
So I'm definitely going home team. I'm not going who's under center. I think at some point it's going to hold for them right now, but he's not that guy for me as far as progressed. He doesn't look any different to me to when he looked when, everybody was bragging about him and them making it to the NFC Championship and everything like that. It's Jimmy G. I mean, it's the same way, with golf. They interchangeable to me. There's nothing I can say exciting about their play. And that doesn't mean you have to be exciting to win, but there's nothing that tells me in a crisis, it will be him that will win you the game. I just don't believe it. It may be creativity of the coach. I'm very disappointed in what's going on in Seattle because I'm slightly confused. We just usually see them to stay competitive. Even if they were losing, I would be willing to pick them if they were staying competitive. They're, like you said, that's a perfect example, the way you described it. They jump out, and then all of a sudden, everything falls apart. So it's like, okay, so the other side makes adjustments, and you make none back. You just keep doing the same thing. And like you said, you cannot pay your quarterback. You cannot build your team around your quarterback and then fail to use your quarterback to win the game. At least we can say San Fran didn't build their team to run around Jimmy G. They built their team so he don't lose the game, right?
Yes.
So, and even in the game, you know, the other day, it would have been even closer than that had they not start dropping corners left and right, you know, and Rodgers being smart enough to take advantage of it all day long when this next man up, because he not going to necessarily get it every time. So unfortunately, yes, until they figure out more team ball in Seattle, we got to pick the home team on this one. That's what I'm gonna go with. And I'm sorry to say, look, I haven't actually been able to catch a game yet in Levi Stadium, but I was able to tour Levi because, like I said, when the Texans played, they played in Candlestick, and that very next year, Levi opened up. I took a drive out there. It's a very beautiful stadium. On the rooftop, you can rent it out, have weddings, and they have like atrium view to look over into the stadium. They were actually the first high-tech stadium. You'd be able to order food from an app, and they'd have just come to your seats. And they also had the opportunity to pretty much tell you the line for the restroom. So you didn't have to get out of your seat without knowing how many people were in front of you. And people don't even, that's something people may not really think about at home. It's very important to know that if you have to use the restroom and you get up and you get in line and there's several people waiting, that's how many plays you will miss trying to use the restroom. So it's important to know, you know, is this a good chance to go? Should I go on third down? So that way, maybe I'll be back by the time I punt, or do I think they'll get if it's a third and long? So these things matter. In the red zone, you definitely don't want to get up and go to the restroom, because then you got to hear the score, or, you know, hope for the score while you're in the restroom. And that sucks. You can't just run out. And there's no DVR. Shout out to Jock. He says, yeah, the ladies line be long. No, I've seen some very long gentleman lines in the stadium. But like I said, it's a very nice stadium. You know, they actually, when they first built, here's a tidbit, when they first built Levi, their goal, when, you know, teams go through a lot. We think it's just the current city when you're dealing with, you know, voting to say you'll get a new, you know, stadium and the city will fund it or the county will help fund it. The county runs, you know, Levi because it's also for other things. And there's a very nice soccer park next to it. So when they built it, part of the NFL's agreement with being able to allow them to move, because they still moved, right? They moved to Santa Clara, is that they built room for the Raiders. They had 2 home locker rooms, and they were using one as a storage until it was determined where the Raiders would go. Because at that time, they were considering their move. They really wanted their own stadium, but they were considering, you know, an opportunity to move there. And so they built Levi Stadium already prepared for 2 home teams. So if anything ever changed or something ever happens, they are set up to host 2 home teams and still have a visiting locker room. So, and they have an awesome museum. And the good thing about these new stadiums, they're actually able to build the museum more from a front street. And so it's an opportunity for you to go by, see everything, even when the stadium is not open. So if in the Bay, you know, you're going to Napa or whatever, you can actually still, you know, go and visit the museum. And the cool thing about that is the difference is, like, if you're in KC and you're at the museum, it's throughout the stadium. It's in a section. So you would need a ticket to be able to see all of their history put together. So that's one of the things when you build a new stadium, you kind of can think about, you know, those things, whereas like in Denver, it's outside. You can do the walks, you know, along the sidewalk and see everybody too. So, you know, just some little tidbits as we go back down memory lane for your girl going through all her stadiums. I'm getting excited. Look, like I told y'all, I was going to be extra, and you just going to have to deal with it, mute it, delete it, move around. But I'm starting to feel real good. And you just don't know. Like I said, this has been a decade journey in the making. You cannot imagine how many no's I've had to give out to things to allow this part of my life to happen. So I'm just going to feel good about it. And, you know, I've been talking enough, and I brought up Denver already. So I already gave my tidbits about being at the Mile High Stadium. You know, I had the sadness of seeing Brock We just won't even go there. Return home to Denver and lose in fashion. Woo! So let's be real quick about this one. We have Baltimore taking on the Broncos. Broncos been having a decent start to their season, and I think it gets a little slow down this week. I see Baltimore winning on the road. I mean, shout out to Bridgewater, but Lamar, that toughness about some Lamar on the road, he one of those guys now that I feel comfortable picking on the road. And putting it in his hands. I mean, even like I said, we're losing to the Raiders. I mean, that was a dominant, great game. I mean, sometimes your own will to win can hurt you, but I see Baltimore getting the win on the road. Shout out to Andrew. He agrees with me. He sees Baltimore getting that win on the road as well. So D Jones, I've been talking long enough because y'all know I'm still excited. I'm gonna pass the mic just for a little bit.
I start to be like the Oscars and start playing some music. Let you know,
if you want to, I'm gonna start singing. That don't mean I'm gonna stop talking.
Start cutting the mic off. Hey, I'm cutting the mic
off. Who name on the show? Okay. Dang, man.
I'm in the wrong corner. You got me in the wrong corner. I can't even point to the logo over there. Over there. So I'm going again with the home team here. I'm going with Denver. I think Denver's defense is formidable, and I think they'll be able to not slow Lamar down, but they'll have a good game plan for the Baltimore offense. I'll put it that way. And Teddy two gloves. I'm gonna ride with Teddy. So I ain't gonna talk too much about it. I'm just gonna go with the home team on this one.
Yeah, it ain't much to say.
It really ain't.
Coach, is he just rocking in the music?
Baltimore.
Dude, if you knew how you look, I'm like,
you weren't even frozen. I thought
Baltimore.
Are you over there watching?
Baltimore.
No. Time out. Are you over there watching a baseball game?
He watching the Stros.
He watching the Stros or something because your attention level is not there. Now look.
What's the score?
I know. I'm not. I don't have it. Honestly, you really want to know what's on TV right now? Married at First Sight.
So you watching Married at First Sight
on TV right now.
So you worse. So wait. That's worse. So you telling me you couldn't focus on it was your turn to pick a game because you was watching people decide if they should be married. You know what? That's why we know for sure you are full of entanglement. You know what? He don't even know.
Coach. Get the pick. Get the pick.
He don't even know because he wasn't watching the Astros either.
Nah, Tampa Bay up 3-0.
Tampa Bay is up 3-0 right now.
No. You give us your pick.
What's your pick?
What's your pick?
I said Baltimore.
Yeah, we moving on from you. Yeah, man, really? Married at First Sight? I'm gonna put in an application for you. You next up. All right, moving on to the next game. It's Tampa versus New England. We got Brady going home.
I don't want that smoke.
Look, Brady going home. We've been talking about this week, just came out today in reports from other media that a tell-all book stating that Brady was in cahoots to try to get Belichick fired and move on to the old Texans coach, O'Brien. All this is just so much to unfold that we possibly could not do it today on the show. So it was just really interesting. So if you hadn't heard about that and you've been busy, all tied up, and you don't get much social media in your life, you definitely want to go check out the articles on it. Because we're in Houston, all of the morning stations were giving it a good go and having that discussion in depth. So basically what they were saying is when O'Brien was here in Houston, at some point, there was an earlier rift with the coach, Belichick and Brady, and they were considering a situation where they were going to try to push out Belichick and in the process see if they could get O'Brien. But it wasn't really necessarily sure that that's what Brady would want, but he was trying to position himself to be available. So he was doing what was necessary, as they say, this is all hearsay, to get fired by the Texans to be the coach. But then instead of getting fired, he got more power and they got rid of Rick. So he was able to get more power and it worked in reverse. Now, if that ain't the most drama-filled Married at First Sight,
I was about to say that's worse than Married at First
TV type drama. Oh my God. I only repeated it because it was so out there that it was like, you have to hear how somebody really is getting paid to write books on stuff like this. Yet I just can't even imagine. So with that in mind, I do expect a nice highlight video to good old Brady. We get to watch this one. This is the Sunday night game. I don't know what they envisioned. Maybe they still thought Cam would be there. I don't think it's going to be the game they thought it would be. Grunt goes home. He will get a mild reception, I'm sure. But he hasn't bit his tongue much about being glad about being out of New England. Whereas, Brady's kind of took the high road and everybody behind Brady has took the undercut punches. But I think Boston fans, even though, so they're the worst fans too. Philly fans are different. They're just different, East Coast.
I didn't have a bad visit there though.
You didn't have a bad visit there, but they were rude to me. Like they fake took my picture. The lady took pictures of herself. She didn't turn the camera around and actually take pictures of me. She knew she did it. And, they destroyed us on Monday Night Football and they were winning and they were very, 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 very rude. And, they kept asking us to leave. They want to know why we were in that section. So to me, they were kind of stank. And the Boston people, name a friendly person from Boston. Okay, you couldn't. All right, so I'm picking New England.
You picking New England?
Oh no, I'm joking because I hate them so much. I'm picking Tom Brady.
I'm about to say, whoa.
Oh yeah, I ain't never that dumb. I'll pick the Texans because that's at least I got some personal ties to them. But I ain't picking New England under any circumstances. Coach.
Wow.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you don't need to say nothing else. You over there watching the show. I'm going with Tampa Bay. It's simply the defense is going to be all over the guy. We heard you.
We heard you. Watch your tone. What we said was we was going to take you off the show since you watching Married at First Sight.
You could. Tampa Bay defense is going to be too much for the rookie quarterback who already kind of showed some shakiness week 2 ago. So yeah, I think what you said, this game is going to be exactly what they thought it was going to be, whether Cam was going to be there or the rookie quarterback was there.
Tampa will still win.
Yeah, this is about Brady showing out. This is what he's going to do. You best believe. And so and he's going to get love from the fans. I don't think there's going to be any issue there.
Oh no.
And he's going to do what he do.
So one thing before we leave this game, it's expected that Brady will hit a milestone in this game. And so he should pass Drew Brees. And so the fascinating question is, will they stop the game and allow, the time for the celebration of it?
No, I wouldn't do that.
I mean, huh?
I wouldn't do that.
Well, they kind of did it when Rodgers was in Houston, and it happened in Houston for Rodgers.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I don't mean forcefully. Okay, I don't mean forcefully stop the game. I just
make an announcement.
Make it the announcement and the love.
And let me
say it that way. So because football doesn't really stop the way basketball does, and you throw in a
they make that announcement
and everything.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And hey, Andrew, I'm gonna go back to something right quick for you because you asked a question about in Philly, sweetheart. In Philly, y'all were winning, and I was trying to cross the street, and your own fans told me I could cross, and then gunned their car to try to run me over. So I don't have any love for Philly fans. They got behind me and walked behind me to just like boo or whatever. So yeah, y'all not ranked high on my list of good fans. So. Anyway, that's that. And Sean, I don't know what you're talking about. Y'all will not stop. Oh, you said they will stop the game.
He said they.
Because if he had said they would, Philly won't stop nothing. They left Santa hanging. All right. So moving on to the next game, we're going to try to bring Coach Pat back in. He over there. He done fell in love with Married at First Sight. I don't know if he's trying to hope somebody get a divorce. We'll find out soon because he might be up next to date him because I heard it was in
He's scooping him.
That's all I pretty much know. Now we know why he watching everybody. If you didn't know, Married at First Sight, the couple from Houston.
We're not even doing this. We're not even doing this.
That's all I know. I don't even know enough to tell you.
We don't even need to talk about it. Next game. You got to hit Pittsburgh, Green Bay. You got to hit Pittsburgh, Green Bay.
Oh, Pittsburgh, Green Bay. All right, let's go back to your teams. My bad. Pittsburgh, Green Bay. Ain't much to say here. I'm going with Green Bay. Derek?
Go Pack, go. Green Bay.
Brandon?
Aaron Rodgers is a bad man.
If you didn't know.
If you didn't know. All right, then. So let's head on up and let's talk about we got a division game. We got Las Vegas Raiders against the Chargers at home. Guys, we talked about it. We're not all on the same page with this one, but I'm going with Chargers at home. I think they played a great game against Dallas. Even when they lost, I thought it was pretty much a toss-up. And hey, they did what they needed to do against KC as well. So I think they have another good division game at home. I'm not exactly sold on the Raiders. I understand they beat Baltimore. I also understand that they beat Miami. That's not really saying much to me. So with that in mind, yeah, I'm going with the Chargers at home. D. Jones?
I like what I see from the Chargers. I think Hubert is the real deal. He got two good receivers to throw to. Keenan Allen is just super solid. Mike Williams is finally starting to kind of come into his own. I would like to see if he continues that this year. But him and Hubert are getting a good rapport across the middle and going deep and actually using his size now. Seemed like I've been waiting for this from him for the last couple of years. But I like what I'm seeing from them. I think they're going to be too much for him. I just think I like what the Raiders do, but I think this young boy is getting it going. So I'm going Chargers.
All right, Coach, tell us about your solo.
I'm flying solo in this one. I'm going with the Raiders this week, just from the simple fact that I haven't going for them the last couple of times. So I'm just going. I'm gonna wing it. Go.
You gonna put your mojo on?
You gonna leave your mojo out there, but we gonna ride with what Sweet means.
Yes,
and she said Chargers look good this year. Yeah, you flying, but I don't know how far that plane going. But it's gonna do an emergency landing. Somebody wouldn't put the mask on. But anyway, we're gonna leave that one alone. Shout out to Agent Corey Williams and his client E Banks on the Chargers. Hopefully they find another win and another good game. All right, next up, we got Dallas. All right, Dallas versus Carolina. Sam's been looking pretty decent. Can't really say much about the way he came into Houston and rode out on a high. But I definitely haven't been against Sam. I was very adamant about, I think the Jets made a huge mistake sending him away. He didn't have enough on the downside, in my opinion, to be starting over. And, I tried to look at it from Derek's perspective when we had the conversation offline, of course, but we were talking about, they thought, Wilson was the next one in a million, so they had to be ready to move on. And I understand that, but that's kind of like, Andy Reid thinking that Patrick Mahomes was the next one in a million. You can draft someone that you think would be the next one in a million, but be pretty sure before you get rid of what you have that what you're getting will work. And I think the smartest look about that is we just talked about the Chargers and the Chiefs. The Chargers did it too. They got them a piece that could work because Tyrod was their piece while they figured out, when to do. And you immediately saw the difference. And I know it doesn't always work out perfectly that way. You still would have had rift because Sam would have been like, man, I'm still a new quarterback and you already on to the next one.
Well, I think that's the difference, though, T. I don't want to interrupt you, but just on that same point, the teams that you mentioned, Chiefs and the Chargers, had bridges. They had quarterbacks to go to their young person. They had Alex Smith, who wasn't solely sold on for the future. He was a bridge to their next quarterback. You had Tyrod, who was a bridge to their next quarterback, where the Jets had their next quarterback and gave up on him to get a shot in the dark, who everybody thought could be the next Patrick Mahomes. So if you got the dude already there, and That just didn't make sense to me. I agree with you there. It just didn't make sense.
It's just a tough spot. Like you said, you can't perfectly do it like a Alex Smith and a Mahomes, but you definitely needed to do better than what you did. I mean, we've seen the other way, right? Rodgers was like, "Wait a minute, what you doing? You drafting while I'm still here, and I'm great. What are you doing?" I mean, hell, Brady said it when Garoppolo came. Like, you think you're going to replace me with him? So if that's the case, show up, right? Give Sam a chance to show up. Don't ride out. So moving on with that, I'm still going to give Dallas the game, but I do think it'll actually be a pretty good game. I think if they keep letting Zeke eat the way he eats, that play action will look good with Dak. Dak is looking great, back under center. And so I'm going with Dallas. I'm actually looking more forward to seeing this game than the Philly-Dallas game, because I didn't really believe that Philly had the offense or the defense, really, so the team, to compete with Dallas last week. And so while I understand Dallas fans are glad about the win and they're feeling good about it, and some even expressed it and said it was more so about feeling like you could win the division and be able to have a good team, I'm looking more to see them have good matches, because your matchups will give you, you're good to go for later. So this is, I think, will be a better matchup. Coach?
I agree with everything y'all said about that whole conversation about quarterbacks. That led me to a conversation I heard earlier. But I'm going to go with Dallas in this one. Like I said, I agree with you, T, with the fact that it should be a decent game. Sam Darnold is actually in the system. Kind of like with Baker Mayfield, they finally found a system that Sam could do that, aspect. But the reason why I'm picking Dallas Cowboys in this one is they have Zeke, and Carolina does not have McCaffrey in this game. So he's out for a couple weeks due to a hamstring injury. So I'm going to go for that's the equalizer for me.
Correct.
And then you got Pollard. But, Sam, can't
I'm
just
gonna need
throw
you to
it
fix his name though. So, I'm big on names. You're gonna have to go back and say his name again. Because you call him Pullard. You're not about to respect that man.
Yeah, I have a coworker, Pullard. So Pullard, I'm sorry. But with that aspect, but it's just the fact that Dak and Darnold, okay. But then what's next after that? No CMC, and you got Zeke. So there's my answer.
Well, that's an extra fact, and I'm gonna roll over to Derek, but I'm gonna have to make sure we put a little bit more separation. Sam is no Dak, so
no, he's definitely not.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is from the aspect of
I just want to make sure we clear on that. Okay.
Definitely, Dak is there. Sam is nowhere close. But I'm just saying from the aspect of another phase of the running game.
I got you.
Adds another piece to it.
Y'all said everything. Y'all said everything that needs to be said about the analysis. Dallas to win this game.
Okay, I guess he was ready to let that go. So it's time. It's time. Woo! It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. Hey, get off that TV screen. It's time to talk about Houston versus Buffalo.
I'm on the TV screen.
Look.
Can I just give my pick before you go?
Some music this time.
You want to get your pick before I go? You want to go?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, let us go. Let us go first. Let us go first.
Let's go first.
Okay. Go ahead.
Buffalo.
Go ahead.
It's on you, Coach.
Well, let me think about this. Buffalo. Next. Go.
Okay, Buffalo. The pick ain't the topic. That's not even the topic of discussion.
That's our point. That's our point. Let's get the pick out of the way.
The discussion is your girl is about to get her last stadium. That's right. Woo! 30 dreams and one to go. And the last one is Buffalo to go. I want my Buffalo to go. Look, y'all don't understand. You can never really understand the fact that, a few years ago, I would have had the chance to already have Buffalo out the way, and life didn't line up right, and I had to make a decision. It was either miss Atlanta or miss Buffalo. The smarter decision was to miss Buffalo because Atlanta would not circle back for 8 years. So, of course, I was able to get Buffalo faster because we play Buffalo every 3 years automatically. And then if you match up right. So last year, I didn't need any team. So it was the perfect year for a COVID year for me because I didn't need any stadiums. But, I have been walking. I've been on cloud nine. I can't. I'm speechless. So we've been talking about this game since the schedule came out. I pressured my boy Coach Pat to go to this game. I was like, you must be at this game, or it could end our friendship. And over the years, I'm sure I probably told somebody no to an event. I'm really sorry, but if you only knew that these games mean everything to me. Aaliyah. Okay, that's right, because Aaliyah is now Apple Music. All right, that was a free commercial. But anyway, I have been just like it took a lot, right? I don't buy the some trendy shoes or trendy this. I wear a uniform usually to work by choice. I buy the same clothes and I wear them every week like I have a uniform because this is where I want to spend my time. I have some amazing memories. I've met some awesome people on the road that I am still very cool with. And I don't think, like Derek, even when we've lost on the road, I don't think we've ever had a bad time, right? No. Green Bay is going to still be the highlight probably of all our trips, even with Buffalo coming up. I don't think much can top Green Bay. I mean, it's just epitome of history. We had the snow, car stuck in the snow, me losing my wallet, people turning it in. I'm just so happy to be going to Buffalo that for all of you, it may not mean nothing, but it means everything to me. And I'm really thankful. I just want to tell both of you, I'm going to see you in about 48 hours. We're going to be rolling out together. But I want to tell both of you, I really, really appreciate you for, supporting my journey. Derek, you pretty much have, I think we've probably done a game every season since 2012. So a little under 10 years. So you almost been in, right with the start of my journey. And Coach, we done had some good times tailgating. We do a little bit more baseball. So I'm glad you finally going on the road. Maybe you'll get the bug. I gave Derek the bug. Shout out to Corey Williams. He gave me the bug. I met his brother at the game, Chris Williams, and we started pretty much about the same time. And we're on the same schedule, so we complete together. Shout out to you, Sean. You said you had your first road trip. Oh, awesome. That's right. You were out. So look, the bug will bite you. And when it bites you, it is hard to let go. So I've already moved on to baseball and basketball. I had an amazing summer with basketball. So guys, look, I'm going to be going live a lot this weekend. So turn off your notifications if you don't want to be notified of when Natasha goes live, because every moment will mean something to me. And, I'm just not going to be able to get this feeling again because I'm more closely attached to the Texans and how they traveled and when they played than I am with basketball. Basketball is really, me seeing LeBron. Sorry, I'm a LeBron girl, but it's me seeing LeBron because I've seen the Rockets enough. And so it doesn't have the same energy. It's like I have to get way up, right? So it's like seeing LeBron on Christmas Day. It's got to be something very unique. The Texans, every time I arrived in a city to see them play, I was already happy. I had felt like it had already done it enough for me because there's, like I said, there is so much you plan and give up. I joke a lot about dating football, but I really do date football. I mean, I do. If you ask me something, I'm going to tell you, yeah, that was the year we played such and such. And if you ask me about doing something, I was like, no, because we have a game on that weekend. So that's not going to be the weekend you can come. I mean, hey, my cousin had her 40th this past weekend. I was like, hey, that's a good weekend for me because we play on Thursday night football. So I went to Thursday night football. I got up Friday morning, caught a 6 a.m. flight. These are the things I do. So I still do to make some sacrifices, but I also appreciate people that have made sacrifices for me. And that's you guys. So let's get ready to have a great time this weekend. And we definitely need to move on to the game of the week so we can give everybody back their Wednesday night. But I wear my sunglasses at night.
Coach, you ready? You ready for this, Coach?
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, are you ready, Coach? Are you ready?
You ready?
Are you ready?
It's gonna get me tomorrow. Watch, I'm being
dude. This is gonna be a production the whole weekend, but we'll see.
We already know
it's gonna be a production. Look, I done charged my GoPro.
Oh Lord.
I'm gonna get new lashes tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna get my hair done in the morning. I'm gonna get my braids touched up. I'm gonna be fresh and clean because I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna feel good. It's just gonna be good. Okay, game of the week. Let me snap back. Game of the week. Whew. Arizona versus the Rams at home. Rams came off a great win against Tampa Bay. I think they were clicking on all cylinders. I don't think there was too many surprises. Like the moment I saw this trade, I knew it would work for Stafford. The part that I still hadn't figured out is, we always know Ramsey's up for the challenge. And I was wondering, how the rest of the defense would look because we have Darnold at the line and we got Ramsey on one side, but I was wondering what would it look like. I didn't expect it to be such a dominant game for the Rams, but shout out to them clicking on all cylinders. And I really expect a great game. Like I really, really do. Derek's been talking about Arizona all season and, and they're gelling and how they are consistently improving. But shout out to Melo. For once, I can go with him and say, I see the Rams. All right, Coach.
Well, we were, us three, we were impressed with the way the Rams played against Tampa Bay last weekend. Then we were also equally impressed how Arizona stuck into their game plan last week as well. Arizona's learning to win games without shootouts. They're learning to win games when nobody's perfect. At the time, it had to be Kyler Murray doing everything for them. Now they're starting to get defensive and offense, and it's starting to come right here. And then you got the Rams with the new coach. With a new DC. I'm sorry, with Morris as the DC, and they're still chugging along defensively. That's going to be a great Clash of the Titans from the defense, offense perspective, and then you got the Rams offense against the new revamped Arizona defense. So with that being said, I'm going with Arizona on the road in a very close game. I expect a very well played game from the perspective, and it's going to be exciting. I think Stafford has finally got some talent with him, and Murray's got talent with him. So, but I'm going Arizona. And
Ramsey love him some hop though.
Yep. So
you took me right. You took it right into where I was going. I think Ramsey Hop is probably the best matchup, really in this particular era of the NFL that we get to see over and over again. And it's crazy how they were in the same division and now they're once again in the same division. This is the only division this week where all four teams are basically playing each other. So this is a big week for the NFC West, which is, in my opinion, the best division. Exactly. My opinion, exactly. I have been pretty bullish on Arizona, but I think this is one that they lose. I picked the Rams to win this at home. Gransberry and I talked about the Rams last week, and we talked about that front line being the massive key to the game last week. And as we predicted, Donald and that front seven, showed up and was able to get some pressure on Brady, and they, won without too much of a fight. But I'm going with the Rams on this as well. This is another game where I think we're going to have a good slate of games this week to watch, and I think this is just another one that's going to be that I expect to be a hard-fought, close game, but I think the home team pulls it out here.
So weird thing, I'm not really sure, but shout out to Michael Sterling for checking in on the game, but he had a lot of comments about Dak, and I'm confused because we weren't against Dak, and maybe he's talking in theory because I know sometimes people do that. And he said he dipped out because he said, y'all just gonna ignore the truth about Dak. I'm out. I'm not coming back. So maybe he misunderstood something. We was talking about Dak is up here, and we said
I think what it was number one, Brother Michael, if you happen to come back around or whatever, most of his comments came when you were already talking about the Buffalo game. So that's one thing. So he wasn't ignoring his comments. We had already moved to the next game. But his points were that people are now kind of like jumping on the Dak bandwagon, and Dak has been proving people wrong. This crew has never been against Dak. We've always been Dak fans. We don't care for the Cowboys, but we've always said pay Dak. We always said the value in Dak. We've always been on that. That's always been this show's point of view. Right. So
even before the show, even before the show. So before we had a show. Right. So, and Absolutely. That's one of the reasons we talk about the team. We really pushed through them last year because Dak was out. But for the most part, it would be asinine to talk bad about Dak. The doubters of Dak were when they were about to push Romo out, but that's internal on the fan base side. That has nothing to do really with
that. And then the guy that signs his checks that didn't want to pay him because he doubted Dak.
Right. So when people make arguments about
they kept saying pay Dak.
Well, even when people make arguments about they didn't believe in him, look where he was drafted. Sir, we don't draft. We're not general managers. So none of that is still on us. So I don't know where the conception is, but we're not against Dak, but let's be truthful too. We're not Cowboys fans. You are. So we're not supposed to put him above our own team or players. We can show him his respect. Just like you gonna give it to CeeDee Lamb, you're not gonna overshow it to Hop. You're gonna respect him in his position, but you're gonna ride with your guys. That's called fandom. So at the end of fandom, we're going to talk about my fandom in Buffalo. And so, all right, Coach Pat, tell everybody where they can find you because we know where you'll be this weekend, but where can they find you?
I'm going to be on Twitter and Instagram, Coach P. Pat.
Looking for divorces after Married at First Sight. All right, D. Jones.
I'll let me on Instagram and D Jones 9804 on Twitter. That boy D Jones.
We about to act the fool this weekend. Yeah,
totally about to act a fool. You talking about the weekend? I done already went into full mode. This is the beginning. It only gets worse.
I gotta go pack like right now.
Look, I already had my preliminary packing started for me today. I called up my mom, had to pick up a few packages for me, get me sorted out and ready to go so I can get started. Look, I'm already halfway there. Look, I'm gonna be in line at the airline. I'm gonna make sure I ain't gonna get in trouble. But I'm gonna be in line at the airline. I'm gonna be ready.
It's gonna be too early in the morning.
When they gonna say bring it, I'm gonna be like it's already brought.
You just go and hit all us because it's gonna be too early in the morning for all of that.
Look, y'all, I'm not sleeping. This is the last night I'm sleeping because tomorrow night I don't even know how to sleep. Oh, and then game night. Okay, so you know where your girl at the Gransberry. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at the Gransberry. But I also have Grand Sports Travel TikTok available for y'all to follow, where I share different stadiums, trips, and fun times in sports. But We love you. We thank you. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.